Welcome everybody to the Lunatic Libertarian. We got on some other shit podcast here with my man's Joe Prophet. Shout out to Joe Prophet, everybody that watches boxing. This is Lunatic Libertarian. Uh, my man's out in Nigeria. He's having a little trouble with the stream. We're gonna help him out right now. Make sure that all that content gets out there on YouTube. Like, share, subscribe, and I'm gonna give it up to my boy Joe Prophet. How you doing, man?
Good, man. Can you hear me? Am I coming?
I can hear you. I can hear you.
Man, it's all good, man. Yeah, it's kind of crazy over here on that stream. Boy, that's Wi-Fi over here, something different. What's going on, man? Appreciate you having me on. You know what I mean? You know, we trying to do our thing over on the YouTube, man. But like you say, we having a couple issues out here in Nigeria, but we gonna get it straight, man. We'll be all right.
Make sure you go out to on some other shit. Their Instagram. Go get that merch. Go get that merch. Hold on, I got another one here. I got the black joint right here. This one real clean because my wife wears this. It's real clean shit. Go out there and get that merch. Hit up the Lunatic Libertarian right now. We got hats. We got all kinds of other stuff out there. That Lunatic Libertarian hat. All etched in. And ain't a patch. Is all stitched in. The Lunatic Libertarian. And yeah, I mean, I got a whole bunch of stuff out here for my brands. Shout out to Organic Pro Leaf. I'm going to let this be known, Organic Pro Leaf. Go get that package right there. You can screenshot, hit that QR code. Go hit the website, organicproleaf.com. Make sure you go out there and get the natural wraps, nothing that's toxic for your boys. And my man over here, he's the one that's supplying them. Hey, them backwoods ain't got nothing on you. Just remember that. Check that out right there. Them backwoods ain't got nothing on you. The Pro Leaf smacking them backwoods.
There we go. I like that. Ain't nothing wrong with that, man. I like that. What's going on, man? It's a lot of stuff going on in the world of boxing, man. Where we gonna start at?
Well, I have to talk about my Eastern European fighters first, there, brother. I got to talk about the Beterbiev wrist injury. I have not been able to validate that story. Let me know what you know about that story about Beterbiev being injured, because I haven't been able to validate it.
I mean, I just seen something about a wrist injury, something in training camp that he, sustained a wrist injury, something like that. Other than that, I didn't really see too much into it. But according to, I don't know, some report that I read on, it came on my Explorer, I believe, on Facebook or something like that. It was just saying he sustained a wrist injury in training, but other than that, I don't know. I haven't really heard too much about it.
It looks like we got a lot of suspicious news out there for boxing. Not seeing a replacement as far as the main event for Riyadh season, February 22, or February 22nd of 2025. It's going to be still Beterbiev versus Bivol in their rematch for the undisputed light heavyweight championship of the world. I think Beterbiev's looking sharp right now in training. I think that what we got now is Shakur Stevens versus Kid Austin, Floyd Schofield. I think Floyd is coming upon some territories that he's never been upon. He might get washed. He might show himself as the bigger fighter. What's your thoughts on that there, Joe?
Man, I mean, listen, I like the fight. Kid Austin and his dad, they manifested this. They've been talking about it for so long, talking about fighting the best guys in the division, chasing the best competition. So, I mean, hey, listen, and this ain't a sparring session, I've seen a lot of Shakur supporters going back. They're talking about the sparring session with Shakur, and that's cool. Shakur probably got the best of him in sparring. It happened, but you don't want to equate that to a fight and what can happen in a real fight, because in a real fight, it's really nobody in there saying, hey, kind of chill out. You don't do that. Don't do this. Can't go here. Yada yada yada. It's not controlled. You know what I mean? It's an uncontrolled environment, so it's a little different. I mean, I'd like to see what Kid Austin does. I mean, I like to see what he does in this the biggest fight of his life. To be honest, probably the biggest fight of Shakur's too. I mean, he's headlining in Saudi Arabia. He's never done anything like that. So it's a big fight for both fighters. I mean, I do think Shakur comes out victorious, but I don't know. Kid Austin could, he could really show us some shit. You know what I mean? Like he's a very athletic fighter.
Supposedly the bigger fighter.
We gonna see.
He's always been at 135 though.
Yeah, maybe in stature. We'll see. Shakur seems like he's a taller guy, but I don't know. We'll see. It's I love the fight. It's an interesting fight. It's kind of good that it got moved up to the main event, because now that puts a lot of pressure on Shakur Stevenson to actually perform well, because his last couple of fights, lackluster, subpar, people leaving the arena, things that
you were there live too, Joe, so you can tell us.
Yeah, I was there. It was for that to be your homecoming and the fans doing that type of stuff, people booing, people leaving, they talking about trying to beat the traffic and stuff like that. I mean, it's kind of crazy, because I was at Keyshawn Davis's homecoming, and it was nothing like that. I mean, people actually had to get kicked out of Keyshawn homecoming in Norfolk, Virginia. They literally had to get kicked out the building. They stayed
because there wasn't enough room for them to be there. There wasn't enough room for them to be there.
Right. I mean, it was a big difference. It was a big difference. So, I mean, this. I think this is the kind of pressure that Shakur Stevenson needs. I believe he's gonna show what he's really about. All the stuff that people are saying, all those the great things that they talk about this kid. I mean, he's really gonna have to show it. February 22nd, I believe.
Well, it's a big ticket to actually show out on. You're not the main event. You're the co-main, which is a privilege, especially with the card that's presented with Zhilei Zhang. You just look at that card. It is all main event fighters, and because it's Riyadh season, you definitely are placed in the hierarchy as far as the importance of the sport of boxing, especially with Turki Al-Sheikh paying out the paydays. I think it should humble some people that maybe, depending on the card that you're on, you're not even the fifth bill, let alone the co-main to the main event. Everybody likes to say they're main event fighters, they should be getting paid all this money. What do you think happens now with Matchroom, with a record in Riyadh season, with Shakur being signed to Matchroom?
Yeah, it's very interesting as well, because for those of you that don't know, Eddie Hearn hasn't won anything against Queensberry. It's a very bad record. I mean, they're destroying. Queensberry actually owns Matchroom. We can just say that. And so for them to, but this is different though, because this is Golden Boy against Matchroom. So it's a little different. Oscar and Eddie been kind of going at it online and stuff like that. So, it's a little different. See, but that Joe Cordina fight was going to be a Queensberry and Matchroom. And I was looking, what I mean? Even though he's a smaller guy and stuff like that, I think it would have presented a crazy match. You know what I mean? I don't know. The injury was kind of crazy and everything. But it was just like, I don't know. I feel like in the back of his mind, he was like, yeah. We haven't beat Queensberry, and we're going against a Queensberry fighter. And I don't think just I don't know. I could be wrong.
Well, we've seen a lot of fighters that fight from the Eastern European style versus our American fighters. The 154-pound division is probably the hottest division right now, as far as the names that are there. When you have Earl Spence, Terrence Crawford, Makalaev, that knocked out Tenzou radically after the showing that Tenzou had against Fundora. You have Sebastian Fundora, the towering inferno, this guy that's 6'7" and 154 pounds. What do you think is going to come up with the 154-pound division right now?
I mean, it's to be determined. I mean, it's like I said, it's pretty interesting already. It's pretty interesting already. You got, the thing about somebody like Errol Spence is like, interesting that he's in the mix, but you can clearly see that he paid to get there. Because he hasn't even had a fight at 154 pounds, but yet in the WBC he's ranked number 1. I mean, you say what you want about it. It is what it is. But it's kind of interesting because I don't know how he's ahead of Conwell, Mukatalov, Erickson Lubin. So many different fighters at 54 that he definitely should not be in front of. Especially when
Conwell had a very good fight this past weekend. Very good fight. He stopped his opponent.
Charles Conwell he's a very dangerous person at 154 pounds. I've been saying it for a long time. They really sleep on Charles Conwell. I feel like he should have got a title shot. And I feel like he was in a line in the WBO, I want to say. I got to look it up, some fact check me. But yeah, I never understood that, but he's a very, very dangerous fighter. Like, I remember at one time he was trying to fight, I want to say Charlo. You know what I mean? He was trying to fight Charlo or something like that, and I don't even know.
He was calling him out.
Yeah. I mean, and then I was like, who is this dude? And then I watched him. I'm like, oh, man. Hey, Conwell's a bad boy. I ain't gonna lie to you. He's a bad boy. He's a bad dude, man, for real. Straight up. But overall, the division, I don't know. And I really want to see what the hell Jermell Charlo's going to do because he said the king is back and he ain't done shit. He don't even got nothing lined up. We don't know where he is. We know he made a lot of money off this Canelo fight, clearly, because we ain't seen him. I don't know.
Formerly undisputed champion of the 154-pound division, the king of the 100. And then he went to go get a payday and left the division pretty much in a state of array, and then relinquishing belts. That's why we have, Sebastian Fundora as the WBC, WBO champ. We have Makalaev as the IBF champ, and the WBA champ being Terrence Crawford. Terrence Crawford is the #1 contender for the WBO championship. So if Errol Spence beats Fundora, he gets the WBO title. Spence can't even fight for it. At 175 pounds, we have the Bivol versus Beterbiev rematch, and David Morrell versus David Benavidez. Interim titles versus undisputed. Let me know your thoughts on Bivol versus Beterbiev too.
I like the fight. I mean, I feel like the first one went. It didn't go as the way anybody thought. A lot of people thought Bivol was gonna get his ass knocked out, including his ex-wife. And it didn't go his way. I mean, I think it was that was an interesting fight. You know what I mean? He gave Beterbiev a little bit of a lesson in there, but it was a good fight, man. It definitely deserves a part 2. And the fact that we're about to see Benavidez and Morrell, and the winner of them should be fighting for undisputed is excellent. But in the second match, I don't know, man. Beterbiev was getting a little older. He'll be like 41, 42 when they do the rematch.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, I ain't gonna lie, Father Time was undefeated. We're gonna see. It's an interesting matchup. We'll see how it goes, man. We're gonna see how it goes.
I had Beterbiev winning the first fight. I thought he was gonna knock Bivol out. I thought that his power was a little bit more than Bivol could withstand. I think that he hurt Bivol. I think that the only thing that Bivol was able to do was deter Beterbiev from working in certain aspects of the fight. But we knew that Bivol would be the first 4 rounds, Beterbiev the last 8 rounds. Cody got him out of there in the 7th. I know that he hurt him there with We've all heard Beterbiev with a shot got caught when Beterbiev went on the ropes, and then it was all over from there for like 3 rounds. I think that Bivol will have more endurance this fight because he's more disciplined than most boxers out there. I think that his power may be a little bit more to ransom with, especially now with Beterbiev's age. But Beterbiev, a devout Muslim, very determined individual, has been accused of PEDs, never been proven. We understand that the Soviet system might have incorporated PEDs into the children over there, so I would hold nothing against Beterbiev if he was, subject to some experiment against his will. He's a hell of a fighter, and I think that the 175-pound division is going to do great. I think David Morrell is a very big challenge for Benavidez, but Benavidez told Morrell, "Oh, you got 12 fights? Come get some." Because I've been in there with everybody since I was 12 years old. So, what are your thoughts on the mentality of Benavidez knowing that information versus a guy coming from Cuba from the oppression that he was raised in?
I mean, 2 different sides of the street. One, you got one that's kind of fighting freedom for, getting away from Castro situation type thing. I can't imagine what that's like, right? Then you got this other guy, that was a fat kid. He was a fat kid that was bullied, lost all the weight, learned how to fight, and has been pretty much told his whole life what he can't do, what won't happen.
Right.
And he shook all that shit, you know what I'm saying? And now he's here. It's definitely somebody I feel like Canelo is, I don't want to use the word fearful. I'll just say careful of getting in the ring with. Canelo's got a great resume. I don't want to disrespect Canelo, but I mean, I call a spade a spade. I mean, you clearly don't want to fight David Benavidez. And why? I mean, we see how he's doing, guys. I mean, he moved up to the thing about Benavidez that people aren't really calling out. I mean, I guess you could look at that Canelo and when he fought Kovalev, as a successful light heavyweight fight, whatever. I don't know. But David
captured his first world title at 175 against Kovalev because he wasn't the WBO champion.
He was a champ, you know what I'm saying? But then you got David Benavidez, who's really making a legitimate run at 175 pounds. And that's why I'm like, Canelo, what's up, bro? Like, why you don't really want to fight this dude? Like, it's not making sense. It's not making sense, But I like Benavidez. I like Benavidez in the fight. I like the build-up, too. I like what's going on. I was kind of thrown off by David Morrell jumping up and shot-putting his belt across the ring at Benavidez. It looked crazy. But
Well, he got pushed by Benavidez. He took an object that he could whip across the ring that David wanted. He said he was going to take it from him as his patent, and he's like, "Here, motherfucker, take it, bow."
Yeah, it was crazy. Even the way he threw it was crazy. I'm not gonna lie. Hopefully when I get back to Houston, I get to ask David Morrell about that. Hopefully I get a chance to talk to him and ask him.
That's right. You got the inside plug with Ronnie Shields and that camp.
Yeah, let me just, like, what happened, bro? Like, why you do that? You know what I mean? Why was that the move? You know what I mean? Like, was he too far away for you to try to actually put your hands on him? Because it looked kind of crazy, you know what I mean? You don't look like somebody that throws stuff like that. So for that to, that was interesting. That was interesting.
I think that Benavidez has the experience. Morrell has the Olympic pedigree. We've seen Olympians fail in professional fighting versus guys that grew up in the hard knocks of the gyms fighting those that were the Olympians going into professional fighting. And we're going to see. David Benavidez has the pedigree that he has sparred every single buddy in professional boxing since he was 12 years old. And everybody will tell you that. He sparred Sean Porter, he sparred Duvall, he sparred it's countless champions as a teenager. This guy is only 26 years old, right? He's very young. Maybe I got the age wrong, but he sparred guys ever since he was 12, losing that weight and coming up into his professional career. I think that there's tragedy at his brother. There is the shadow of Rio leaving his camp and becoming a 140-pound world champion. I mean, the styles of boxing versus what is successful, it just depends on the fighter, in my opinion, because we have seen people that have followed Virgil Hunter versus people that have followed Roberto Garcia versus those that followed Freddie Roach. And, some are successful, some are not. What do you think of the Lamont Roach versus Tank Davis fight?
It's crazy because at first I thought it was a joke. I thought the fight was a straight up joke, But then I started looking at Lamont Roach a little bit, kind of understanding their background and history, and then I'm like, okay, it might be all right, but I still think Lamont Roach is getting his ass knocked out. I still believe that, And his dad shaking up at the podium just kind of proved my point. Like, they're happy about getting this check, but his son's. But see, it's a win-win for him, though. I mean, he's about to get money, and he's getting a Tank fight notoriety. Even if he loses, I mean, he's not going to lose his belt. So he'll still be a champion. And a lot of people don't even know that. He'll still be a champion at 130 pounds, unless Tank is going to go down to 130 and make 130 pounds, which later with Ellerby said he could already do that. Was a lie. That's a lie.
Sure.
So, but so he ain't gonna lose his title. He just gonna it'd be embarrassing or whatever for a little bit, but but what I mean the fight is, I guess I'd rather see Tank unifying with a Shakur, with Baranicek. I mean, I guess Loma just retired, so I guess that belt's about to be vacant. So that's interesting.
Baranicek versus Keyshawn Davis.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna be there. Oh yeah, I'm at that one. That's a hell of a fight. I'm looking at Baranicek. He might be just a little too small for Keyshawn. But do
you think he might be a little too smart?
Maybe
with his footwork.
To be determined, because his footwork is, he's of that Lomachenko pedigree, that Ukraine boxing style. So
high caliber, high IQ.
Right. Like,
he ain't a pushover. He's a world champion for a reason.
Right. I mean, he did not. He did just beat Navarrete. So.
Which is a guy that just stopped Oscar Valdez.
Right. So it's. I like it. I mean, I can't deny it. I like it, bro. So it's a hell of a fight.
Do you think that Keyshawn Davis has done more in the lightweight division than anybody else currently? To include Tank, Shakur, Barancek?
I mean, that's hard to say. Because if I want to say somebody who's done the most at 135 this year, I might even have to go with Abdullah Mason, man. That dude fought like, what, four times? Five times almost. He's active, man. That dude is active. Like, Keyshawn is doing his thing, though. Like, he worked his way to a title shot. He got through Madueno. That was a tough fight for him, So, I mean, I got to give it to the kid, man. You know what I mean? Like, I really got to give it to the kid. But, I mean, I guess you could say Keyshawn because he's about to get a title shot. So, Shakur, it was kind of like weird. Came in there, he fought the Asian guy, Yoshino, and then he got a title shot. Loma, I mean, lost his belt. He got his back. I mean, pretty much emailed to him, I guess. So yeah, I mean, you can say Keyshawn. I mean, I would say Abdullah Mason just because of activity, but yeah, you can say Keyshawn Davis. You can say Keyshawn. Yeah.
Okay. So for the 147-pound division, for an individual like Boots Ennis that was actually gifted his title and then defended it against Karen, didn't look too good. Then he defended it again against Karen, didn't look good at all.
Mm-hmm.
Says he's going 154 pounds, then comes up and says, no, we're going to stay at 147. Who do you see him solidifying his legacy against?
Who do I see? Who submitted on the legacy?
Boots Ennis. Who do you see him solidifying his legacy against? Because we've come up with Philly fighters that, Stephen Fulton. I mean, we heard it on Smoke TV at YouTube and Instagram, Smoke TV. Shout out to Smoke. Because Greg Hackett was saying that, the time travel to another country and the jet lag, and, for Stephen Fulton, people can come up with narratives that Philly fighters are looking soft now because Fulton got destroyed by Inoue. You said it to the group, the boxing council, the group that when he was out on the scooter, that you knew he wasn't all about that fight. So, I mean, let us know what you think about Boots Ennis, Philly, and who's going to solidify his legacy. Is he going to fight at 47, be undisputed, or is he going to go to 54? Does he need to go back down to 140? I mean, what's going to do for this man? Because his Philly boys were walking out of that fight, too, because they thought he lost.
Boots is a liar. That's what I think about Boots. I mean, Boots, very talented fighter. You can tell he just has a lot of yes men around him. He ain't really got people around him that's like telling him the right things, in my opinion. Because this man got up in front of his whole city and said, hey, I want to move up to 54. I want to get big names up there. I want to fight the best. As soon as he gets a big name at 54, he says, oh, no, hey. Change my mind. I think I want to unify at 47. Matter of fact, I want to be undisputed. So it's just like, bro, yeah, man, Boots. I saw it. Like, I saw the charade he was trying to run on people a while ago. And then even him disrespecting Karen, saying that he couldn't get up for Karen, the competition to fight him again. Like, Karen's the best fighter you fought.
Karen's a very talented Ukrainian fighter that has a lot of skill. He just doesn't have a lot of power. If he had the power, he would probably stop Boots in both of those fights, in my opinion.
It could have happened, I mean, Boots was just looking crazy, I mean, I was really looking for the Brian Norman fight. I like Boots and Brian Norman.
Ooh,
I felt
Brian Norman just stopped his last opponent at the Red Eye Nasty with an uppercut.
Yeah, that's all,
Nasty knockout.
Yeah, I'm like, that's a fight I like at 47. That's somebody I feel like pushes Boots, to push Boots to the next level. Stanionis fight might have been good, but him, I don't know. For years, he could have fought Stanionis years ago. So I don't really know what's going on with that. But I don't know. Maybe, and let's see if him and this T.O. thing is real. If him and T.O. is real, that could be a good one as well.
Do you think T.O. Can establish himself at 147 pounds?
I didn't think he could establish that with 140 pounds. He beat the shit out of Josh Taylor. So me winning against T.O. I'm done with that. So I'm gonna just, whatever he's trying to do, I'm gonna just believe he could do it, except for beating Terrence Crawford. Other than that, I'm with him.
Charging. I think that Josh Taylor might have been a little bit old at 140 pounds when he fought T.O. I think that's something that happens at top rank. And I don't oppose their matchmaking, because they got to get their money out of their fighters. But I think Josh Taylor should have moved up to 147 pounds. But if he would have did that, he might have got it destroyed by a very mediocre 147 pounder. He's a very talented 140 pounder. He went through the undisputed and became undisputed. I'm not going to doubt that man 1 second. He beat the Regis Prograis. He knocked out plenty of other opponents. He did his job, especially as an older Olympian from Europe. And he comes from Scotland. Hey, shout out to the Scots that fought all the pressure from the English. Shout out to them. One last thing I want to talk about is just the general state of boxing. Do you think Riyadh season is good for boxing? And do you think that it might monopolize things? Because Riyadh season has aligned itself not only with DAZN, but UFC, Queensberry, Top Rank, Matchroom, Golden Boy, all the top promoters. Do you think that the money is good for the fighters, the one organization is good, but when do we see where people may be taken advantage of sometimes?
The first part of that question, yeah, I do think Riyadh season is good for the sport because it's alleviating a lot of these guys of saying that the money ain't there for the fight or that people ain't putting up correct amounts of money for the fight. Because I mean, Turkey's getting these guys paid. He's getting these guys the biggest paydays of their life, biggest money they ever made, putting them on big stages to fight in front of a lot of people. He's making pay-per-views cheap, affordable for the fan. You know what I mean? So it's just like, yeah, he's definitely good for boxing. There's no way he's not. Because you got PBC overcharging people $89, $90 for bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Like, shit that's not even worth $40. You know what I mean? Then you got Turkey putting on shit that is worth $100 and giving it to people for $20. So it's like, yeah, he's good for boxing. I just gotta admit it. I mean, the man is good for the sport. And him trying to like almost unionize it, it makes a lot of sense. So it's like, yeah. I think it's good for the sport, man.
Okay, brother.
I like what they're doing.
I just want to go like this. Go get the organic pro beef. Go get that right there.
You feel me? I appreciate it.
Go get that right there. If you ain't heard it, Paul Wall told you to go get a pro leaf too. Go get that. Go check out that Baby Bash single from Baby Bash and Paul Wall. Shout out to Baby Bash out there. We appreciate you too. Shout out to Paul Wall. We appreciate you. The O.S.O.S podcast, Real Talk podcast. I'm on some other shit.
Yeah. Man, hey, Lunatic, I appreciate you having me, man. I'm finna get up out of here, man. I appreciate it.
I appreciate you. Shout out to Nigeria, Worldwide Mob Figures. This is the Boxing Council. Well, I'm from the Midwest, Texas, Nigeria, England with Specs. We got West Coast with GOD Boxing Talk. We got Smoke Movement TV out in New York. Shout out to AKA the Apostle. Let's talk sports. Let's shout everybody out from Most City Minutes and Behind the Hands TV. Let's shout out everybody on the Lunatic Libertarian podcast. I appreciate everybody who gonna catch these hands. It's been another episode, y'all. Joe Profits, man. Joe Profits.
Hey.